A contest in which skilled drivers ram old cars into one another until only one car remains running.
Well, last week it was the Pierce County Fair Demolition Derby up the fairgrounds, and I know I was hitting hard, but there was this one time went head on with the car, and I hit him so hard I bent the steering wheel around the column, and I didn't feel nothing that night, but that morning, Sunday morning, I was black and blue all the way through the chest and my right side and my ribs, and so I had a few bruised ribs and steering wheel mark on my chest, and so that was one of the worst hits I've ever put on somebody. And
yeah, I wasn't real uncomfortable. The truck was pretty steady up there. I was just more or less trying to get the other guy's attention to get me down before they black flagged me. First thing that went through my head when I got up there, I turned around and looked out the back window, and I seen the top of the cab, and I just thought, oh God, I hope I didn't hurt the kid. Because I knew his gas tank had to have been pretty close, and I knew his helmet had to be really close to the back bumper.
I have a couple other guys that we run together, not necessarily teamed with, but if you see that guy's in trouble, you know, or he's hung up or stuck, you go over there and help him out, and he'll return the favor later. You know, if you got somebody that's got a really tough car, you know, that's the ones that I tried taking first, is try to defeat the heavy competition, you know, and then kind of filter your way down, you know, make a shot, have your other one pick before you even move to the next car, you know. Sometimes it's hard in a fast-paced derby. It's really hard to pick your next shot. Sometimes you just got to take one, you know, no matter what it is, you just have to take it.
As I was getting hit after the second time and seeing him coming at me again, at pretty close to 50, I probably should have broke my flag, but you just hope for that miracle or for something to start working again, and just praying that throttle would start working. I was sticking my toe into the firewall, everything trying to get me some kind of throttle. You never want to never want to break that flag until you get it broken off by a judge. You just want to hang in there till the very end, no matter how bad it hurts.
I picked it up from a friend of mine. He ran it last year. We didn't think it was going to hold up too well, but it held up better than we thought. It started great. It's really hard to find a Mopar that'll start when it's hot, and it started every time I needed it to. It's pretty simple. It was just finish chaining it, change a few things that he did backwards, and put it the way that I prefer to have it done, and took it up there and had a good time with it.
It all started when I was a kid, going to the fair and watching the demos up there at the fairgrounds. And ever since then, I've always wanted to do one. So when I turned 18, when you're able to run in the demos, built a car and went up there and had a lot of fun. And ever since then, I've been trying to do demos every year.
Well, the way we find most of our vehicles is friends of friends of friends and word of mouth. And usually about 600 to 700 miles on a weekend we'll find a couple of them. But a lot of people aren't selling them anymore because they know what we're going to do with them. There's a lot of guys going up to like junkyards that specialize in demolition derby vehicles like French Lake and a few other ones up north. And the price on them is getting kind of outrageous, if you ask me. Guys are paying anywhere from $800 all the way up to $3,000 for a demo car. And a lot of times when you get cars that are $2,000 or $3,000 cars, Chrysler Imperials or what have you, they just take and fold each other and they're only good for one or two demos.
My motto, if it's over $100, I don't buy it. I don't run it. Cheaper the better. The brand of the car doesn't really matter to me, as long as we can wreck it.
The 1950s were prosperous times for the United States. Never in our past have we ever had so much opportunity to fill our free time with leisure activities. It was a time for the family to get out and experience the truly great things this country had to offer. Community parks and family getaways were often the solution for the summertime blues. Family vacations to exotic destinations were now within reach, whereas in the past it was reserved only for the wealthy and the elite. Many a youngster returned home with tales of adventure that could only happen on summer vacation. And for the teenagers who were of driving age, it was all about hot rods, cruising, and girls.
It's a pleasant afternoon in June. Mel and his best girl, Thera, are enjoying a ride. Well, he's enjoying it. She's not too happy about the way he drives. He's got a good car and he likes to show what it can do. See that jalopy up ahead? Watch him pass it. Many boys like Mel were a public problem. Until in 1950, someone had the idea of turning this abandoned airstrip into a legitimate test course for hot rods. Here's Mel and the jalopy. The flagger thinks Thera better get out. There they go. Mel can't believe it, but it's happening. He's left behind. Far, far behind. He's humiliated and angry. His one thought is to find Thera and get away. There she is, talking to the fella that just beat him.
Drunk driving laws of the 50s were almost non-existent and rarely enforced. Early laws simply prohibited driving while intoxicated, with no specific definition of what level of inebriation qualified. Traffic fatalities were on the rise during the decade of the 1950s. Campaigns such as Speed Kills raised the public awareness but did little to reduce the number of people being killed on our roads. There had to be another reason for the fatalities other than just the hot rod racers and the drunks.
Recent studies conclusively proved to the American Medical Association that safety belts diminish the extent of injury and definitely improve the crash victim's opportunity for survival.
I don't have any strategy out there. I just go out there to hit somebody. I just want to go out there and have fun and just hit people without getting a ticket. You know, hit and run, and off you go. No one chasing you besides the opponent. I know I've put some good licks on some other drivers out there, and just the recent one last week, I put a good lick on him, and I know I was hurting, and I don't know if he was, but it hurt. If your loved ones, they care about you and they want to know if you're going to be safe out there, and you usually are. I really hadn't had too many seriously injuries, just a normal sore neck and your back problems.
The first heat I took in, I was paying more attention to one truck in particular. I really wanted to take him out in a hurry. I took my eyes off him for about 2 seconds to help out Tony and Brian, a couple guys I was running with. And I went for a half-track shot on another truck. And when I hit him, his rear end spun out from behind me, and I had so much momentum going that I actually went past him and then right up and over and through the box of another truck. And I ended up in the back window. Yeah, it was a good 2-3 minutes. It saved me. They could have black flagged me and knocked me out. But the truck that I actually hit caught on fire, so that took and stopped everything there.
Strategy, there's not much for strategy. It's just the make and model of your vehicle. If it looks tough and you feel confidence in your vehicle, you're going to do well. That's what I did during the truck demo in Ellsworth. I had a good vehicle and I knew it was good, so I just did really well with it. Winning would be nice. I've never won a demo. The closest I've come was the truck demo. It was 4th place in the feature. It used to be just to put on a show. After running the trucks now, and we know how to build a good truck now it's next year we want to go out there and win the whole works.
Well, Tony ended up getting me knocked down. And then me and Tony and another guy we were running with ended up beating up the truck that I had originally started chasing after right from the get-go. And we ended up putting him out of commission until he broke his flag. Then I took and made it to the feature. I went out in the feature with no water, and I actually, in the heat, I took and had to run around on just 2 rims, which no one could believe I could move, because I lost my tires. But when I went into the feature, worked my way up to 6th place, and then I got knocked out. I took a shot on another guy, and him and his brother didn't appreciate it, and they put me in the wall, and that's where I stayed. This old Dodge, it's going to see at least 2 to 3 more demos. The frame ain't bending. It's good running. I'm going to have to take and have the transmission rebuilt, but for a couple $100, it's worth it. I got 4 other bodies that I'll put on this chassis alone. But this body here will see at least 1 to 2 more demos.
With the advent of the seatbelt during the 1950s, the automobile was now able to be used in a slightly more playful fashion. Automotive daredevil shows such as the Joey Chitwood Thrill Show enticed and amazed fans of all ages with the high-speed and death-defying stunts. It was soon discovered that stunts that involved the destruction of cars whipped the crowds into a frenzy. The exact origin of the Demolition Derby is not exactly known. There have been different accounts of it taking place at different locations sometime during the 1950s. Enter James Grohl, a Franklin, Wisconsin car dealer who legally had his name changed to Crazy Jim. Crazy Jim is accredited as being one of the earliest promoters of Demolition Derby. Cars too beat up to sell at his car dealership often made their way to Crazy Jim's Demolition Derby at the Hales Corner Speedway near Milwaukee, Wisconsin. The Demo Derby now had a foothold in American popular culture. Early Demo Derbies were high-impact, exciting events that attracted large crowds. Derbies such as the Figure Eight allowed the drivers to gain high speeds, which inevitably created massive collisions and intense rollovers. Demolition derbies continue to attract large crowds and are usually the most popular event at the county fairs and celebrations. Attendance at demo derbies is estimated to exceed 1 million spectators each year.
I started in 1987, basically right out of high school. Hometown derby. Just tried it one time and pretty much got hooked on it after that. 17 years later, I'm still going at it pretty strong.
I started doing demo derbies probably back in '76. The late 90s, I pretty much decided to end my demo derby career. I was champion of River Falls 5 consecutive years. I actually won 6 years. And at that point, kind of decided to not run River Falls. At the same time, they needed someone to take over judging River Falls. I've been away from Demo Derby for, 7, 8 years. I had one car left and decided to, this would be my grand finale last year. The last before I turned the big 5-0, before the body couldn't take it anymore.
Yeah, when I started, pretty much you just took the windows out and put the key in the ignition and put the battery in the front seat, and you used to be able to leave the gas tank in and fill them full of water or whatever, but those days are long gone now. Now you've got to seriously think about how you're going to set things up and make sure everything's right,
Number one, you got to build your car to compete with the very tough cars that are going to be left in the end. And you want to get yourself a full-bodied car. Imperial's being a full-frame car, where that means you have solid frame from the front bumper to the rear. That's what makes the Imperial so far superior to the unibody cars, which have got a stub frame, and then it actually uses the body of the car as a center, where an Imperial has got the solid frame that runs the full length of the car.
Like I said before, things depend on where you go, what you're allowed to do. Sometimes different places will let you do a lot of different things, a little welding here and there. I guess the main factor of when I first started, you have to chain everything then. Now you can weld. It's progressed through the years that there's more and more welding that's allowed now.
Number 21, he's got to be a pretty good demo driver, pretty good car builder. His car did not give, and we know what that means. He's got his car built just like the rest of them were out there that day. We were all outlaws. We all had outlaw cars. We had them full iron, and he had a little bit more iron in his than I did in mine. He knows how to build a car. He's a good car builder.
We used to just run plain old tires with no tubes in them, you know, and everything's got tubes and double tires and whatever else, you know. Like I said, it all depends on where you go, what you're allowed to run. But places are getting more lenient because the car count is getting down again. It seems like every few years the car count goes down and then comes back up, and the younger fellows try to get in, and which is good. Need more younger drivers out.
What I see going on with the Demo Derby today, I believe that the 80s and 90s were the premier years. The heavy-duty cars are getting fewer and fewer out there, and the younger guys coming up wanting to get into Demo Derbying can't compete with the guys that are still out there that really know their stuff. If it's an open derby, anything goes derby. I think in order to make it competitive again, I think you need to go back to the stock cars. And you know, they've tried the truck derbies, they've tried the compact cars.
Well, the first few years I started doing this, I was pretty sore for the next couple days. There's been some pretty hard ones over the years that I wrung my bell off a doorpost once, you know, and it made a pretty good thunk, and I thought I was going to take a little nap for a while, but I didn't.
I remember officiating and seeing broken arms, dislocated back, neck injuries, but as far as myself, you know, what a way to go out, seeing that car coming at me and getting hit and walking away from that with really no injuries is good enough for me. I'm ready to collar a retirement. Just about every derby driver out there's dream is to have an Imperial, Chrysler Imperial to drive, or a big wagon. Big Chevy wagons are good. Everybody has their own style of cars, but everyone knows that Imperial is a superior car.
In the quiet expression of good taste, the Chrysler Imperial has no equal. Its interior space is exceptional. There is 5 feet of shoulder and hip room both front and rear. Rare Claro walnut accents the incomparable interior. There is even a master gauge that watches other gauges. Even the trunk is carpeted. The Chrysler Imperial becomes its own private island. So quiet its silence becomes eerie at turnpike speeds. Each minute behind the wheel erases tensions of the mind and muscle. The Chrysler Imperial, because you deserve it.
I got real lucky back in my derby days. I followed up on a lead, and it took me 90 miles north of Duluth, and I actually pulled into the guy's yard. As I drove down his driveway, I passed over a dozen Imperials sitting on both sides of the road of his driveway. It was a mosquito heaven up there, but I had to go up and see this to believe it. They were actually all there. I ended up, how I did this, I don't know, but I ended up paying $200 per car, and I purchased all of them. I think I ended up with 15 Imperials. Between a couple of buddies of mine who went to get them with me and myself, we took 2 semi-truck trailers. So we hauled 6 cars back per trip. And I believe we made 3 trips and cleared out all this guy's Imperials. 2 of them were restorable and never did get see a demolition derby, but that was A big contribution to my success in the 80s and 90s, winning the derbies I did win, was I found a Christmas present, a yard full of Imperials, and it's something everybody would like to find.
I drove for quite a few years without basically winning anything. It wasn't till in the early 90s that I actually started going around to different places. I just ran my hometown derby. But you give and you take. I mean, it's not a lucrative deal by any means of the word. I probably donated maybe one more than I've donated, but that the cars pay for themselves, I'm happy. River Falls, that was a good win for me. I was pleased with that one. I won one the very night before that also with another car. This year, I've had a good year this year. 2 firsts, a second, a third. So I'm doing good.
I ended up, even though I got this car cheap, I still ended up probably with $3,500 in the car. And to end up with a $1,000 purse, you really never win. You never come out. Any feature driver really never comes out ahead. It's you got to love the sport. You're sure not in it to make money, because you're not going to make money in demo derbies.
I decided to go down to River Falls. Supposed to be a lot of Imperials down there. Was supposed to be a bunch of guys from Iowa coming up, and I thought I'd like to go play with them a little bit, you know. I didn't expect quite to be mauled on like I was in the feature right away, but you know, you take it as you get it. You know, it seemed like I had a big magnet in the car. And everybody decided they want to run into me, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But I figured that try to even up the score as fast as possible, and get things down to a couple 3 where I could handle myself a little better instead of 5 or 6 or 8. But it's a tough car, and I'd probably do the same thing.
I had this car left and decided to just end it. Did pretty good. I didn't think I'd get as far as I did. Got right down to the end. It was myself and number 21 left. I could not get the thing to go into reverse. I had no throttle. I was, but my engine ran good. I was idling around out there.
Towards the end there, I was getting held pretty good by another car. Claimed he didn't have reverse or throttle, but he was able to back up and hit me with the back of his car.
If I was holding him, it was not, it may have been somewhat intentional, but I was having difficulty. I was having a real struggle out there just getting that car to move around the track.
Yeah, I really don't like being held like that. Towards the end, I was getting held by one and beat on by another.
I hit him, and I could not back up. I couldn't do anything, and I had no power to back away from the guy. So I was just kind of basically going around there on an idle.
I don't see that in my book as being level. Give me a shot. Let your buddy take a shot. I don't care. You just don't hold me and let him try and beat the crap out of me, basically, I told myself in my mind that one time he slips up, he's going to get it.
what I recall is his car getting hot and killed. And I finally found reverse and got the thing to start moving at an idle. And I backed up enough until I gave him just a tap. I gave him just enough of a tap that he got his car going one more time.
Next year, I'll come back down there next year with another car, and I'll even the score up.
I already said I'd like to get with him and go at it again, but I'm done. That was my last Derby, and to start over another car, you never know. You maybe next year's another year, but that was just on my way out. I just didn't like that sitting around in my yard, and it just kept looking at me, and I had to do something with it, so I did something with it. Destroyed it. I don't know.
Mr. Dice will get her next year if he's there, I'm telling you.
Well, there you have it. You've seen the full impact. Yes. You've seen the impact. Yes. You've seen the impact, and that, after all, is the impact that counts. That's impact. Yes. Yes.
Oh, I got turned away from more demo derbies because they outlaw Imperials, number one. Most derbies outlaw Imperials. Even if it meets their rules, if it's Imperial, you're out.
5 years ago, I got hit in the side on my car and cracked my helmet and knocked me out.
I try and keep my head moving as much as possible. The surprise shots, those are the ones that really bug you. They'll hang with you for a week or so. Stiff neck and back and arms or whatever. Main thing, I just try and keep looking around. Every once in a while somebody will catch you off guard. You can't be looking 360 degrees all the time, you know, but
I don't know what he had, if he had a water barrel in the back, the extra coolant to help keep it cool. It seemed like there was a lot of smoke coming out every compartment in the car. And you want to run a water barrel, I guess, you know, whatever we wanted to do, that's what we were allowed to do.
I personally try to leave things on the track, just for the simple fact that nobody needs to get trouble brewing out in the public. You know, if it's something really stupid, you know, things will transpire either on the track or afterwards, or, you know, some yelling and shouting, basically it all ends up to be, but